All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Sunday, July 23rd. We got a full MLB slate to jump into today. Like we always do, and I always tell you guys, we're going to go through each and every game on today's slate. We'll look at the sides. We'll look at the total. I'll give you my lean or leans on the games, but all my final plays, so what I'm actually going to be rolling with myself. If you do want to ride with me or if you want to fade me, those plays will be in the pinned comment here. Coming off of yet another 2-2 night. That is 3 nights in a row of 2-2. I'm a guppy. Got to be better than that. 2-2 nights are for guppies, and that's what we've been doing as of late. So hopefully we can get something going tonight. Before we jump into it, guys, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button as well. And while you're down there, go check out the pinned comment and head over to Outlier. 7-day free trial with the link in the pinned comment and the description. And it's the best sports betting research tool out there. Everyone that has tried Outlier has had great things to say about it. You go be the next person. 7-day free trial. Check it out, guys. Start betting on sports smarter today. If you can understand that green means good and red means bad, you will be able to profit with Outlier. Go check it out, guys. Best sports betting research tool on the market as of right now. Let's jump into game number 1 here. We have Detroit taking on San Diego. Detroit, obviously huge underdogs in this one, and rightfully so. Padres, better team. They whooped them yesterday 14-3. They won game 1 of this series 5-4. We don't know who's pitching for Detroit yet, but Musgrove is on the mound for the Padres, and he's been good as of late. In his last 5 starts here, he's 4-1 with a 1 flat ERA, pitching some good ball out there. His last 3 starts, 11 strikeouts, 7 strikeouts, and 7 strikeouts. I think he had another 7 strikeout game in one of his other starts outside of those 3 too. So I'm on the Padres side here. I guess we'll look at the run line -1.5. Don't totally love it because it's -137 odds right now, but yeah, fading Detroit. Padres may be starting to figure something out here. They've won 4 of their last 5. I don't want to give them too much credit, but you know, they looked good in that Toronto series. Now they're looking good against Detroit, but anyone would look good against Detroit, including myself. So I'm leaning towards Padres on the run line. Total sitting at 8.5. Yes, the Padres went out there and scored 14 runs yesterday, but I do think that this is going to go towards the under here. So I'm going to slight lean there just because Musgrove's on the mound. He's been pitching really, really well, right? And you have a Detroit team that's just not, you know, consistently going to put up a bunch of runs, and they're only batting .226 against righties on the season here, averaging 3 runs per 9. So if they go out there and score 3 runs, I think the Padres can win this one 5-3. 5-2, that type of thing, and really one-sided, a lopsided game in which they still cover the run line and hit the under. All right, next up, we got Washington versus San Francisco. But first, I almost forgot the ride of the day from yesterday. Coming in from Douglas. He probably wishes that I forgot because we got to face the womp womp. But I want to say one thing, almost in Douglas's defense. There was a bunch of rides of the day for Logan Webb over 4.5 strikeouts yesterday, and he had a bad day. So Douglas was not on his own here. There was a ton of ride of the day plays out there for this exact play. In fact, some people had him like with the ladder, the strikeout ladder, 6+, 7+, that type of thing. And Logan Webb, this is more for you. 2 womp womps, 1 ride, and that second womp womp was for Logan Webb, just having a tough day. So the winning streak ends with the rides of the day. But guys, if you do want to be the ride of the day, make sure you use hashtag ride of the day in the comments. Give me an absolute lock. Let's get back to winning. Give me an absolute lock in the comments with the hashtag ride of the day, and I'll be jumping on board with one person and giving you guys a shout out in the next video, win or loss. So back to this game, we have Washington taking on San Francisco here. San Francisco, obviously the better team, but they have not really looked like the better team so far this series. They lost 5-3, and then they lose 10-1 yesterday. That being said, I do think that they bounce back today. However, we are waiting on a starting pitcher from them, and Mackenzie Gore is on the mound for the Nationals. He has not been that great as of late. He has like 1 good start in his last 5, and it came by way of playing against Cincinnati, who, he only pitched, I think it was like 3 innings, and I'm calling that a good start. Mackenzie Gore has been trash as of late, so I'm fading him today. I'm going to look at the Giants here, -115, but obviously before we ever pull the trigger on that, I'm going to look at, who we're looking at when it comes to who is going to be pitching for them, because Cobb, Wood, and Webb all have gone recently, so is it going to be, Stripling, Del Scafani, whatever it is? Keep an eye on the pin comment to see if we pull the trigger on anything final there, but yeah, I want to know who's pitching, but I do think San Francisco bounces back today from these 2 losses and at least takes 1 in this series. And then in terms of the total, I don't really have much of a feel for this one. It was 5-3 in game number 1 and then 10-1 yesterday. It's kind of like, what's going on here? So I'm going to pass on giving any sort of lean for the total. I just don't have much of a, I don't have much of a lean on it. Yankees taking on Kansas City, and I just think that the Yankees win this one again, but minus 198, minus 200, nothing that I'm willing to pay, and I really don't trust them all that much on the run line here either. You know, even odds, I say, okay, fine, that actually is some decent value, because if the Yankees are going to win, they're probably going to win like they won yesterday, which is a 5-2 win. They only scrounged out the win 5-4 in game number 1, but nonetheless, I do think that, you know, obviously 5-2 is more suitable for playing a Kansas City team like this, who's only won 3 games in their last 7 here. But nonetheless, my main lean in this game is actually going to be on the over. Yes, it may be a little bit crazy, but we have 2 pitchers here. So Jordan Lyles for Kansas City, he has a couple good starts in a row. I want to give him credit, but he played a Kansas City team that, you know, just didn't really score runs against him, and then killed the bullpen in that start. And then he played Detroit after that. So those 2 starts are very, you know, they have an explanation behind them. And then you have Luis Severino on the mound for the Yankees here. Luis Severino's been stinking as of late. I think his last start was actually good as the Angels, I believe they played, but nonetheless, prior to that, letting up a bunch of runs. So I'm going to trust that he goes out there and maybe stinks again today. But, you know, I just don't want to consider the under here, because both these pitchers can get smacked around. Can Luis Severino go out there and do what he's done in the past and actually look really good? Yeah, it's the Royals. So if you want to kind of fade that pick, go for it. I don't even know if that becomes the final play, but it's really the only sensible play that I could consider in this game is the over here. And again, it is a little wild, because you're looking at a 5-4 game and a 5-2 game. And you're like, Ev, why the heck would we take the over? We haven't even seen that trend. I'm a psycho. Sound a psycho alert alarm, but let's keep going, guys. I don't know if this becomes a final play. Keep an eye on the pinned comment, but we got plenty of other better spots coming up in just a bit. All right, next up we have the Marlins taking on Colorado, and just real quick, can we drop a lot of womp womps in this episode? We got to give one to Miami here. They have just been stinking out loud, this Miami team. Colorado has taken both games so far this series as underdogs, right, in these, and they're heavy underdogs yet again today, plus 245. Jesus Luzardo's on the mound for Miami, so I can see why Miami is such heavy favorite here at, you know, minus 260, but nonetheless, I can't trust that, so I'm fading Miami in this one. Give me Colorado. If we want to be safe, look at them on the run line, sure, but this is probably the game that they pull out, just because Luzardo, you know, is probably, I guess, the only consistent guy on that staff right now, right? But I can't trust how this team has been playing. They've been dropping 1-run games, 0-run games, like it's their day job as of late. And by the way, their day job is to score a bunch of runs, and they just have not been doing that. So I can't trust anything this team has been doing. So I'm fading them here. Yes, again, this is probably the game that they pull out and they end up winning, but nonetheless, I'm not taking a peek at them. I'll wait to see them win before I bet on them to win. In terms of a total here, 8 runs. Also don't have much of a feel for this, because it's still the Rockies we're talking about here. And if I think this Marlins offense has been struggling, I'm not going to be like, oh, well, the Rockies offense is going to carry the weight here. So yeah, I lean towards the under, but man, oh man, this is such a series of like, I want to see what's going on before ever putting my own money on it. All right, next up, we got Cincinnati taking on Arizona. Arizona has lost both games in the series thus far. They lose game number 1 to the Reds here, 9-6, and then 4-2 yesterday in game number 2. We don't have a starter for Arizona, which makes my lean a little weird, because I do lean towards Arizona, but we know Luke Weaver is on the mound for the Reds, and I have a feeling the Reds are such favored in this one, and when I say such favored, it's pretty much a pick 'em, so it's not even that crazy of odds. But you have Luke Weaver on the mound too. They've won 4 out of the last 5 starts that he has pitched in, okay? Or at least has started in, but he has not been good. He's been ultra fadeable here, you know, only averaging, you know, like, I think it's 3 2/3 through those starts in terms of innings pitched here, and he's letting up a boatload of runs. So I'm fading Luke Weaver today and looking at Arizona, but I want to know who's starting for them, obviously, before we end up pulling the trigger on that. But they average, they have a 254 average against righties, which ain't that bad. 5.5 runs per 9 here, almost 1 home run per game, averaging 6.5 hits per game here. So I do think that this is a spot where Arizona can at least take 1 within this series, and I'm kind of fading Luke Weaver here, but obviously, before we end up pulling the trigger, I'd love to know who is starting for Arizona, because they have been in the dumps and on the slide. But you know what? Not the worst road team here, so give me Arizona on the money line. In terms of the total, 11 runs. We saw 9-6 in game number 1. Then we saw 4-2 yesterday. Now, while I think Luke Weaver is going to let up a decent amount of runs to this Arizona team, an 11 total seems a little high for me, so I'm going to pass on that. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to take the under or even lean towards the under, but I'm not considering the over, so we probably chalk it up and throw it away and don't really even consider it. All right, when I say raise, you say slide. Raise, Yeah, they are on a slide. They're still just not performing, only winning 1 of their last 7 games here. Baltimore catching the win yesterday. They've already won 2 games in this series. Tampa Bay, honestly, the only win that they had was just because the Baltimore went out there and could not do anything against Eflin. So nonetheless, I think my main lean in this game is actually going to be on the over 8.5. Both Taj Bradley and Tyler Wells on the mound here have not really pitched well as of late. Now, I don't want to say they've been letting up a lot of runs. I'm not saying that, but they have been involved in a lot of high-scoring games here. And obviously, this Tampa Bay offense, still a good offense, and Baltimore as well. I think that we're going to see a lot of runners on base and whatnot today as well. So my main lean is going to be over 8.5. And if you had a gun to my head and I had to pick a side here, I would say Rays, but we've been wrong about that, and so has like 90% of the baseball world so much as of late. So yeah, I lean towards the over as my main lean. Do I think the Rays can win this? Yes. But am I still, thinking about how good the Rays were? Yes, admittedly. So yeah, I like the Rays in this one. Minus 140, fair odds there too, I think. But I do like the over more than anything, and that makes me, I can sleep well, and I know in that because I cannot keep trusting this Rays team who just continues to lose. All right, guys, before we continue on with the slate, we're about halfway through here. I wanted to give a shout out to the new storefront for Fade Me. If you guys want to pick up some merch, make sure to go check it out. Great prices, great material. I'm wearing it in a bunch of videos, and we're launching more and more products as we go. It's obviously a brand that we've put a lot of effort into creating and everything like that. And if you know the backstory, it's kind of because when we first started doing this, really sinking our teeth into sports betting, friends, commenters would be like, oh, you're wrong, you stink, you stink. Over time, we're proven to be profitable. So every time I say, someone's like, hey, you stink, that pick stinks, it's like, okay, fade me. And, the little tagline is kind of like, if your friends or the doubters want to doubt you, okay, let them lose, fade me, go ahead. So if you do want to support me, guys, and it would mean the world, and it has meant the world to all the ones that have, head over to fademe.store. I'll put the link in the pinned comment as well and pick something up. It's a t-shirt you would really, really like. I know that. I'm so confident in that, and I'm so damn excited to have these in real life and these coming to life as we launch more and more. So head over there, guys, support the channel, support me. We're going to bring more and more content to you guys with that support. So yeah, head over there, fademe.store, guys. Very, very excited to continue to grow this brand, and thank you guys so much for putting me in the spot to be able to do that. But let's move on here. We got Cleveland taking on Philadelphia. Cleveland at home, slight favorites in this one. Slight underdogs in this one at plus 125 over on DK right now. They've won both games in this series. They've looked good. Their offense looks good as well. Yesterday, I guess I'm blowing too much. They win like 2-0 or something like that. So it wasn't an offensive game yesterday, but nonetheless, their offense had looked good prior to the game prior to that. 5 games prior to that, it was 11 runs, 10 runs, 5 runs, 6 runs, playing really good from the offensive side of things. We don't know who's on the mound for Cleveland yet, so that does kind of ruffle my feathers a little bit, but we do know that on the mound for Philadelphia is going to be Aaron Nola, who has been meh as of late. He's kind of going good start, bad start, good start, bad start. He had a decent, I would say actually pretty good start in his last outing, so he's ready for a bad start. And Cleveland is a team that can hit righties fairly well, 255 on the year, so it ain't half bad. Averaging over 6 hits per 9 there as well. So give me the Cleveland Guardians here for plus money. In terms of the total, 8.5, I do think that yesterday was the anomaly, that 1-0 game. Now that I'm looking at it, I think that this is another high-scoring game. Philadelphia's offense has been hit or miss as of late, no pun intended. But this Cleveland offense has been a freight train, which is weird to say because they've been going in ruts of not scoring runs, scoring runs, not scoring runs, scoring runs, that type of thing. But I expected them to go out there and this could be another 6-4, 5-4 type game today, which would cash the over. All right, next up, we got Milwaukee taking on Atlanta. Milwaukee actually getting the win yesterday, winning 4-3. On the mound today for Milwaukee is going to be Julio Teheran. He's 2-4 with a 4.01 ERA, and you have Bryce Elder on the mound for the Braves, 7-2 with a 3.31 ERA. And he's had a couple bad starts, and I mean bad starts in a row. Against Tampa Bay, he only pitched 3 innings, let up 7 runs. And then against Arizona, he pitched 2 1/3 and let up 5 runs. So this could be kind of crazy, but I do think that this is a spot for him to bounce back, as well as the Braves. You have Julio Teheran, who came in to the season pitching pretty well. He's had a couple rough starts in a row against lesser ball clubs, so that is where I'm kind of splitting the pitcher's hair here, saying okay, one of these guys is going to bounce back. I'm willing to bet on Elder over Teheran here. So give me the Braves on the money line. Total sitting at 9.5 right now, and so far in this series, the games that we've seen 6-4, 4-3. So really hovering right around that line. I'm going to lean towards the over just because it's kind of a safety net here too. It's like, yes, I'm backing a pitcher for him to bounce back, but both these guys have stunk as of late. So maybe if they go out there and just consistently do what they've been doing, we cash an over easily. So keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if we roll with a final play there. I could easily see that becoming a final play, both of them becoming a final play, to be completely honest. All right, Minnesota taking on the White Sox here. Minnesota has won both games in the series, and I think the streak continues today as Bailey Ober takes on Lucas Frozen Yogurt Gelato here. White Sox have lost 4 of his last 5 starts here, and Minnesota, obviously, their offense is no joke as of late. They've been scoring a decent amount of runs. They did have, was it like a 1 or 0 run game against Seattle not so long ago, but nonetheless, that is the outlier of everything. So I expect them to score a decent amount of runs today, certainly get to Gelato. So give me Minnesota here, who, neither one of these teams, I will say, kind of hurts. I also like the over, kind of hurts the spot here, but they don't really hit righties well. Both these pitchers are righties, but that hasn't necessarily mattered, I would say, for the Twins as of late. In their last 5 games, they're batting righties really, really well. Just as you kind of widen that sample size, aka go back further and further in the season, that average starts to drip, so drop. So they do bat righties well as of right now, not overall though. So kind of where I'm like splitting the hairs there, but give me Ober and the Twins as well as the over in this game. Ober, Twins, over. All right, Cubs taking on St. Louis, and it looks like the Cubs are the team that is stopping St. Louis in their tracks, and they're underdogs again today. I think the value is on the Cubs side of things with Jameson Talon on the mound. Is he great? No, but he's going up against Jordan Montgomery, who also isn't all that great. Has been pitching really good, so I will say, he's been pitching well, so fine. I'm not going to rag on him for that. But you can even make the argument that Talon's had a couple decent starts in a row. But honestly, I'd be lying to you guys if I wasn't saying that this plus 125 number wasn't calling to me with the Cubs, right? So this is more of a value play than it is, oh, I'm so confident the Cubs are going to win. No, plus 125 for a team that clearly is playing better baseball than the Cardinals in this series seems like it is a good spot. And then in terms of the total, 9.5 runs. So far in this series, 7-2 game, 4-3 game, then 8-6 yesterday with scrubs on the mound pitching, right? Fulmer pitching 2 innings, pretty much starting just for the Cubs there. And then Mikolas, obviously, he didn't pitch all that well yesterday either. So 9.5, I think it's a little bit of an overreaction to what's been going on in this series, especially last game, and then also to these pitchers. Like, I don't think these pitchers are going to let up a boatload of runs. So give me the under 9.5. It's probably my main lean in this game. But again, the value in this, and you can't tell me otherwise, the value is on the Cubs at plus 125. And they've been playing decent. They've obviously won the last 2 games against St. Louis, right? But they've won 4 of their last 5. I don't care if it's against Washington or not. They're scoring a lot of runs, which hasn't been their MO this season either. So Cubs on the money line, my secondary lean there, but there is some value there. That is for sure. All right. We got the Texas, the arrow is not updated here, guys. Hold on, we'll move this down. We got Texas taking on the Dodgers. That threw me off a little bit, but Texas taking on the Dodgers. Obviously, this Dodgers team is just not a team to be messed with right now. Last 3 games, or 4 of their last 4 games, 3 games they've scored double digits in, including both games this series, 11-5, 16-3. Now, obviously, the wheels have to fall off at some point. You can't score 16 runs consistently, right? But why are we going to bet that that's going to happen today? So give me the Dodgers minus 115 as they go up against Martin Perez here, who honestly has been okay, but not great as of late. And obviously pitching from the left-handed side, it is sort of a weakness for the Dodgers, but again, not as of late. Similar to what we talked about with the Twins. It's like, yes, if you look at the season, the Dodgers aren't batting lefties all that well, but then if you look at them from afar, they actually do, not from afar, closer in the last few games, they have been putting up a bunch of runs, which, no kidding, obviously scoring a bunch of runs here. So if you are, I will say this, if you're on the Texas side of things, I don't hate it today. Like at some point the wheels fall off for the Dodgers. I'm just not going to, risk the play and throw money out there being like, oh, they're going to fall off. So I think the Dodgers win this one just because they're red hot. If they don't, it'll be like, yeah, that was bound to happen at some point. My main lean in this game, if you want any sort of actual pick here, is going to be the over, because I think you're crazy if you're considering unders as of right now. Very similar to how I'm saying you don't bet against the Dodgers when they're freight train like this. But seriously, when they're scoring a bunch of runs and they're playing the Texas Rangers. Like, think about that recipe. It's like, we're not just saying, okay, well, the Dodgers are going to go out there and cash this over alone, right? No, they could literally have an off night, which would be 4 or 5 runs as of right now, and Texas can score 5, 6 runs like that. right? So we're looking at two teams here that are offensive juggernauts. Why wouldn't they be able to go out there and score a bunch of runs, especially with Texas bats righties really well, almost 7 hits per game, near 6 runs per 9. So give me the over in this one. It's 10 right now. I wish we could have gotten it at 9.5. Actually, I don't even know if it started at 9.5, but that's what we concluded with yesterday, right? But over is my main lean in this game. And then same thing, I think that this Dodgers team is a juggernaut right now, so I'm not going to stand in that way. But if you kind of want to take the chance to get Texas for plus money against the Dodgers, who historically here this year don't bat lefties well, go right ahead. I'm not going to stand in your way, but do not stand in the way of my over. All right, Oakland taking on Houston. Surprisingly, Oakland wins yesterday 4-1. I don't think that happens again. So minus 230 is a lot to be paying for Houston on the money line here. Don't really love them on the run line either. So, maybe it's some sort of a parlay throw in if you guys want that. In terms of the total 8.5, I'm going to lean towards the under. Not necessarily because of the pitchers here. Hunter Brown, obviously good pitcher on the mound for Houston, but he hasn't been pitching that well as of late. And then Medina on the mound for the A's. He's actually been pitching better than, normal as of late, but I'm not really banking on the pitchers here. I'm banking on this being the last game of a nothing series. I don't think these guys are going to come out real fired up on the offensive side of things. So give me the under 8.5. All right, Angels taking on the Pirates here. Pirates have Mitch Keller going, which gives me a little bit of confidence here that they take this series concluder. I still don't know if that's a word, and I've used it in like 3 straight videos. The Angels have Tyler Anderson on the mound, who actually has started to, I wouldn't say started to look good, but the last couple starts here, starting to look good. But nonetheless, Mitch Keller, I trust him a little bit more tried and true here. So give me them. And then, yes, we took the over yesterday, and that stunk. It was a 3-0 game, and we had the over 9. So that did not work, right? I almost hit the womp womp, but I was like, we're womp womped out this video. But I do like the over again today. I think this is a spot where both teams can go out there and score similar to what they did in game number 1 of the series, which is an 8-5 game now. Is it going to be 8-5? Probably not. But that 3-0 was more of an anomaly for both these teams based on how many runs have been scoring than what we've seen recently from them. So give me the over 9.5. You also have 8-mile-an-hour wind blowing directly out to center field. If you like that, it's going to be nice 82 degrees there today as well. 4 p.m. game. So yeah, give me the over in this one. That's going to be my main lean. And then I'm going to trust the Pirates, even though they even yesterday they win 3-0. They didn't even look all that great, right? So trusting the Pirates here, but also the over. And I don't want to get burned with the over 2 times in a row. Well, that would stink. All right, we got the Mariners taking on the Blue Jays here. Mariners favored in this one, which is good because I like the Mariners. I think that's good. If they were underdogs again like they were yesterday, be a little testy here, but the Mariners pull it out for us here, and they are minus 134 over on FanDuel right now. They got Brian Woo on the mound right now, going up against Alek Manoah, who is literally a terrible pitcher. He's gone up and down. They brought him back up only to get shelled. Like, this guy stinks. He does. Has he had good starts in his past? Sure. I'm not here to go Alek Manoah train and hate on him, but he stinks right now. So why would I not take a Mariners team that I think is starting to find a little bit of their stride here? Give me the Mariners. Then in terms of a total 8.5, I think the Mariners are going to score a decent amount of runs. Yesterday's game was a high-scoring game, 9-8, right? Mariners had to come back to win that one. I think that's going to be a similar type of affair here. I don't necessarily think it's going to be 9-8, so I'm not calling a huge scoring game, but I could see this one easily getting into the double digits. So slight lean towards the over, but main lean for sure is going to be the Mariners, especially because the Blue Jays are kind of blacklisted, if you recall a couple of videos ago, right? They lost us money 3 games in a row, so they're blacklisted right now, and I love the Mariners stepping up for your boy here. All right, Red Sox taking on the Mets. Bernardino on the mound for the Red Sox, and Carrasco's on the mound for the Mets. Don't trust either of these guys as far as I could throw them. Has Bernardino been good? For sure. Definitely has been good as of late, but I watch the Red Sox too. I feel like he's ticking time bomb from not pitching well, but hopefully that's not the case. Like, hopefully I'm wrong about that as a Red Sox fan. Carrasco, we know, is kind of a stink out loud type of a guy. He did have a good start. I forget who they played, but it was either a second or third to last start. He actually dealt. So nonetheless, I don't think he's a good pitcher overall. What I do like in this game is going to be the over. We saw 8-6 in the game, the second game yesterday, and that was with 2 good pitchers on the mound. So give me the over again here. Red Sox have cashed that in 2 of their last 3 games, and the Mets obviously coming off of the game yesterday in which that cashes. So main lean in this one's going to be the over because I'm kind of fading the pitchers. If you wanted a side lean, I would look at the Red Sox, but I don't love the minus 145 price tag. Like, this should be a little bit closer to an even match than what we're getting. Like, in the last 2 games, it's been right around that minus 105, minus 115, that type of thing. I think the Red Sox were minus 120 closing odds yesterday. So the fact that it's jumped up right now with these two pitchers, don't really love that price tag. It's not really a fair valuation, but nonetheless, I still do think the Red Sox win this one, but I like the over more than anything. Guys, that is all I have for you guys in today's video. If you did enjoy, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? And drop those ride of the days. We want a dub. We want a dub. I'll see you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.